The best I've seen was 11 leeches on a knob end. They didn't wear underpants. They went for the first bit of skin they got when they went through the fly-hole buttons. And they had a field dressing wrapped around the delicate end with the tapes up round his neck, and it's the first time I've seen one of those things in a sling.
Though the SAS were learning about the jungle the hard way, they were not achieving results. They couldn't find the communists, let alone kill them.
What were the maps that you had like?
At the start, they were rubbish. They were air photographed maps, so they were taken from 20, 30,000 feet, and sometimes there was a cloud. So on your map, you had a big white patch with the word cloud wrote on it, and that could cover 50 map squares.
The injuries sustained in tree jumping made it impractical. If walking was the answer, then the SAS would have to become better at tracking their prey. And their teachers in this jungle art were a fearsome tribe of headhunters from Borneo, hired by the British Army. Mani Kalau was one of them.
This is the skull of one of my enemies. I saw him with a Bren gun. He turned, and I just shot him. Since I've killed him and chopped his head off, he belongs to me.
Some trackers were brilliant, and they knew what they were talking about. I mean, my tracking is rubbish compared with theirs.
45 years on, Lofty Large is back in the jungle where he tracked the communists down.
If you look at this, I can see where somebody's walked around. Leaves which are like that, the wet side of it up, you know it hasn't been that way long. Look at the difference. So they've been turned over. Somebody has walked through there. Every sense is switched on to maximum. You're listening, smelling, looking, everything, feeling that you get a feel for jungle. And you sense danger.
In this uncharted territory, communists could be 10 miles in front, or 10 feet behind, and still remain hidden. The slightest noise could cost you your life. In 1963, America went to war in Vietnam. In the same year, 15,000 British soldiers arrived in Borneo to take part in another conflict that could have been Britain's Vietnam, but in fact had a very different outcome. This was due to the attitude of the government, and in particular, the Defence Secretary, Dennis Healey.
It was the most successful war Britain has ever waged. We won it after 4 years with a loss of only 134 men. Whereas the Americans tried to win the Vietnamese War by bombing, and millions were killed, and they lost.
The British arrived in Borneo to protect their former dependency from its aggressive neighbour, Indonesia. Sukarno, the Indonesian premier, wanted the island of Kalimantan to himself. He had already incited a revolt in neighbouring Brunei, and now his special forces were burning border villages. While some patrols stayed close to the longhouses, others lived in the jungle itself. For 14 days they never spoke, washed or smoked. The tension was only relieved when night fell, when they would stop moving, knowing that the Indonesians were doing the same thing. The highlight of each day was deciding what to eat.
I don't want to leave this in case it falls over.
Well, don't let it fall over.
You get a different meal every night with the same thing,
Yeah.
because you just varied the amount you put in with
Here.
it.
That's good.
I had lots of practice, Peter.
How many days would you eat it for?
14,
14, yeah.
and then you'd go
Start
out,
again.
and then you'd go out for 2 or 3 days and go back in with another lot and eat that again for
Yeah.
14 days, the same stuff.
Yeah.
We were on the same things for 4 months, even if we didn't like it. And those who didn't like it got so they had to.
Curried bully beef or curried sardines,
Ecumbillis.
or both curried together.
On the thing.
And as a last resort, the local delicacy, ikan bilis.
Pour a bit more. That's
Ecumbillis.
That's it, ecumbillis.
Dried
Right.
fish.
If you're into rotten fish, it's
If you're
great.
into rotten fish and
Yeah.
you can hold your nose and eat at the same time, it's great.
Nothing wrong with it at all. It's lovely.
I'd only eat that if I was really desperate.
It stinks.
Of course it stinks, that's the idea of it. I was the original pig in shit. Everybody enjoyed it. The scorpions had somewhere to crawl under warm. The leeches were right next to your ear. It was good.
Despite the presence of the SAS, the